There's an app that 1.3 billion people can't live without. And not because they love it, it's because they have no choice. If you live in China and you don't have WeChat, then you simply don't exist. You can't pay for food, you can't enter buildings, you can't talk to friends, and you can't access government services. You simply cannot function. But here's the terrifying part. Every message you send, every payment you make, every person that you talk to, it's all being watched. And the people watching aren't just collecting data for ads, they're deciding if you're a good citizen or a threat. Today, we're going inside of WeChat, how a simple messaging app became one of the most powerful surveillance tools ever created, how it took out every aspect of Chinese life, and how it gave one government more control over its population than any regime in human history. This is the story of total digital control, and it started with this one text message. Tencent, one of China's biggest tech companies, launches WeChat. The pitch is simple, a messaging app like WhatsApp, but better. Voice messages, group chats, video calls, nothing revolutionary, just well executed. And within 1 year, WeChat has 100 million users. Chinese citizens are abandoning their SMS and traditional calls because WeChat is free, fast, and fun. Tencent starts adding features, moments, a Facebook-like feed, stickers, and games, a new payment system called WeChat Pay. And by 2013, WeChat isn't just a messaging app anymore, it's becoming a platform. You can order taxis through WeChat, book restaurants, shop online, transfer money to friends, all without leaving the app. This is where Western apps failed and where WeChat succeeded. In America, you use different apps for everything. Venmo or Cash App for payments. WeChat became the everything app, one interface for your entire digital life, and Chinese users loved it. Why juggle 10 apps when one does it all? But the convenience came at a cost, and in China, the cost is your privacy. By 2015, WeChat has surpassed 600 million users, but it's not just popular, it's essential. The Chinese government started integrating WeChat into official servers. You can now renew your driver's license through WeChat, pay your taxes, book hospital appointments, access your medical records, and apply for permits. Businesses adopt WeChat Pay aggressively. Street vendors, luxury stores, restaurants, taxis, everyone. Cash is disappearing, and credit cards never really took off in China. The country is leapfrogging straight from cash to mobile payments, and WeChat is leading the charge. Then comes the social pressure. If you're not on WeChat, you can't be in group chats with coworkers, family, or friends. You can't even receive red envelopes, digital money gifts that are actually central to Chinese culture during holidays. You're socially isolated. Landlords start requiring WeChat for rent payments. Employers pay salaries through WeChat. Schools communicate with parents exclusively via WeChat. The app isn't optional anymore, it's become infrastructure. And here's the thing. Once WeChat becomes infrastructure, you can't leave, because deleting WeChat in China is like deleting your bank account, your phone number, your email, social security number, everything at once, and your entire life disappears. This is what total market control looks like, not because WeChat is the best app, but because it's the only app that matters. And now here comes the dark part, the part Tencent doesn't advertise. Every single message sent on WeChat is scanned, monitored, and stored, and not just in China, but everywhere. In 2019, researchers at the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab tested WeChat censorship, and they found that politically sensitive words were being blocked in real time. Messages about the Tiananmen Square, Hong Kong's protests, Uyghurs' detention camps, anything the Chinese government doesn't want discussed, automatically deleted or never sent. But it's not just keywords, because WeChat uses image recognition AI to scan photos, send a picture of Winnie the Pooh, which has become a symbol of mockery towards Xi Jinping, and it might not go through. Share a photo from a protest, even outside China, and it gets flagged. The censorship extends beyond China's borders, and if you're using WeChat in Canada, America, or anywhere else, your messages are still being monitored by Chinese servers. Conversations between two people in New York are being scanned for content the Chinese Communist Party doesn't like. And it's not just censorship, it's surveillance. The Chinese government has direct access to WeChat's data. They don't need warrants, they don't need justification. Tencent's like every Chinese tech company. It's legally required to cooperate with state security. Now this means every conversation you've ever had, every payment that you've ever made, every location you've ever checked in, It's all in the government's database, and they're using it. Now here's where WeChat's control becomes truly dystopian: the social credit system. Now China's social credit system is designed to rate citizens based on their behavior. Be a good citizen, get a high score. Break rules and criticize the government, associate with the wrong people, and your score drops. And WeChat is a massive data source for that system. Now your WeChat activity feeds into your social credit score. Now who you talk to really does matter. If your friends are dissidents, your score drops. What you say matters. Criticize the government, even in the private chat, and it's logged. Where you go matters. Check in at a protest site, flagged. A low social credit score has real consequences. You can't buy plane or train tickets, for instance. You also can't get loans. Your kids can't attend good schools. You can't rent in certain apartments. Your internet speeds get throttled. You're publicly shamed on government websites. Millions of Chinese citizens have been blacklisted, and WeChat is one of the most primary tools making that possible. Now the Uyghur crisis. In Xinjiang, where the Chinese government has determined over 1 million Uyghur Muslims in re-education camps, WeChat isn't just surveillance, it's a weapon. Uyghur residents are forced to install monitoring apps linked to their WeChat accounts, and authorities track their every movement, read their every message, monitor their every contact. Refuse to install the app, and you're detained. Now WeChat messages are scanned for religious content, Quran verses, Islamic greetings, even the word halal can trigger flags. People have been arrested because someone in their WeChat contact list was deemed suspicious. Now the app has become a tool for ethnic persecution, enabling a mass surveillance and detention on scale unseen since the Holocaust. So how did this happen? And how did one app gain so much control over 1.3 billion people? Well, first, convenience. WeChat genuinely solved problems. It made payments easier, communication simpler, and life more connected. People adopted it willingly because it worked. Second, network effects. Once enough people used WeChat, everyone had to use WeChat. It couldn't function socially or economically without it. Third, government integration. By making WeChat essential for accessing government services, the state ensured everyone had to have it. And fourth, lack of alternatives. In China, foreign apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Google are banned. Domestic competitors either got absorbed by Tencent or were shut down by regulatory pressure. WeChat had no real competition, and the result? A single app that controls communication, commerce, and access to essential services for over 8 billion people, all while functioning as a surveillance and control mechanism for an authoritarian government. Now here's where the uncomfortable question gets asked. Could this happen in other countries? Look at how much power apps really have in your life. Your bank app controls your money. Google knows everywhere you go. Facebook knows everyone you talk to. And Amazon knows everything you buy. Now imagine if one company owned all of those. One app for everything, one company with all your data, and one government to access it all. That's WeChat, and that's China. That's the future authoritarian governments everywhere are trying to build. China didn't take over WeChat. WeChat helped China take over its citizens, and the app became infrastructure of control so embedded in daily life that resistance is impossible. Delete WeChat in China, you lose your money, your friends, job, government access, everything. You're erased from society. That's total control. Not through force, but through dependency, the most effective form of authority ever created. So next time you download an app that wants you to do everything, messaging, payments, social media, shopping, remember WeChat. Remember what happens when one app becomes too powerful to escape. Because convenience is addictive, and by the time you realize you're hooked, it's already late to quit. WeChat didn't just take over China, it became China. And that should terrify anyone who values freedom, privacy, or the ability to exist without corporate and government surveillance tracking your every move. The app on their phones doesn't just connect them, it controls them, and they can't escape.